Here is the Thumbelina fairy tale. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a woman who dearly wished for a child but could never have one. One day, she visited an old witch and shared her wish. The witch smiled and handed her a barley seed. "Plant this seed, and you will see a miracle," she said. The woman planted the seed in a pot, and the next morning a beautiful flower bloomed from it. It was the loveliest flower she had ever seen. As the petals slowly opened, the woman was astonished to see a tiny girl inside, no bigger than her thumb. She named the girl Thumbelina. Thumbelina was so small that she slept in a walnut shell, covered herself with violet petals, and drank dew from flowers. The woman loved her dearly and cared for her with all her heart. But one night, as Thumbelina slept, a big ugly toad crept into the house and carried her away, thinking she would make a perfect bride for his son. The toad placed Thumbelina on a lily pad in the middle of a murky pond and left to prepare for the wedding. Thumbelina was terrified and cried for help. Luckily, some fish swimming in the pond felt sorry for her. They nibbled at the stem of the lily pad, setting it free, and Thumbelina floated away with the current. As she drifted along, the beetle spotted her and carried her to his tree. Although he thought she was pretty, his beetle friends thought she looked strange, so he left her all alone. Thumbelina felt sad, but kept her hope alive, determined to find a place where she belonged. Autumn came and the weather grew cold. Thumbelina wandered into a field where she met a kind field mouse who offered her shelter in exchange for helping with household chores. Thumbelina was grateful and stayed with the mouse. However, the mouse had plans to marry her to his wealthy neighbor, a mole. Thumbelina did not want to marry the mole, but the field mouse insisted. On the day of the wedding, Thumbelina ran away through the mole's dark tunnels, desperate to escape. Finally, she reached the surface, where warm sunlight and fresh air greeted her. As she wandered, she met a friendly swallow who had been injured during the cold months. Thumbelina had cared for him, and now the swallow offered to take her far away to a land of warmth and flowers. Grateful and excited, Thumbelina climbed onto the swallow's back, and they flew over mountains and forests to a magical flower kingdom. In this enchanting place, Thumbelina met a handsome flower prince who was her size. He fell in love with her at first sight and asked her to marry him. Thumbelina agreed joyfully, and the prince gave her a pair of delicate golden wings so she could fly alongside him. From that day on, Thumbelina lived happily ever after, surrounded by beauty, love, and her new family of flower fairies.